Boys! Have you been sitting at the edge of your seats waiting for me to make this decision? In case you don't know what I'm talking about, we're here. We're live in the courtroom. I've kept you waiting for a couple of minutes, more like 24 hours, but I've been pondering this. This small little 25-year-old child that I have sitting in front of me, he's got a big old kink mark left around his neck from his boyfriend, and he's claiming... He's claiming, I am a man, don't you forget it. He's claiming that this choke collar was put on Inspector Gregson. So that is the thing that I need to contradict. And I was torn because I was like, well, this game really loves to feed me a lot of fucking bullshit. So I was like, what in the world do I have that contradicts that? The only two things that could maybe even possibly work and what I was stuck between was option number A, option letter A, the coroner's report, which makes no mention of any markings around his neck, which is a little bit weird, but an omission for information is not contradictory information. So I really thought the piece of evidence I would want would maybe be this photograph. But the thing is, this is where we get into like some real fucking subjectivity in my opinion, because his neck is not like super visible in this photo. In fact, it's pretty fucking obscured by his collar here. Now, you can't see any red ring around his neck, so I think that that's what the game wants me to pick up on and throw down here. But like, every time I think that I know where the game is going, the game is like, no, you stupid fucking idiot. You have to do, you have to have Susato-san talk about the photo first, and only then can you present it. And I'm like, well, get fucked. But anyways, I do have all my credibility back, so I get to be a little bit riskier. So I'm going to throw it and see what happens. Jacob Welsh, Jonathan Brown, hello. Objection. So, the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. Where is cognito? In hiding. Where is hiding? That's one of my favorite lines, actually, from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Must have been season 1, because it was when London Tipton was still a little bit of an airhead, but she was not lobotomized yet. Flanderization of dumb characters. I didn't know who Ned Flanders was, and I didn't know that Flanderization was a concept, but I used to call it the London Tipton effect, because that is what I observed as a kid. In my own world, I was older. Like, a lot of people talk about Ariana Grande's character on Victorious, like Kat Valentine, who I think they did the same thing to, but I was a little bit older than that. I grew up watching The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and London Tipton was the first character that they did this to. She was a spoiled rich girl who was never book smart, but she was like a realistic character, like a spoiled rich girl who's a little bit of an airhead, but like she's cognizant and she has the mental faculties of like an appropriately aged teenage girl. That's like what her character was. But then at a certain point, it was like, well, London Tipton is the quote unquote stupid character, so let's keep writing her to be even dumber. Even dumber. And I've always wondered, like, is it considered like insulting to your audience of the show? Was it like you want her to be the dumb character, but you're afraid that the audience watching her is also incredibly dumb, so you're like, we have to make sure she's stupider, that's not a word, more stupid than the average person watching The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, so we have to keep making her even dumber and even dumber. And it gets to a point of ridiculousness where London Tipton, who felt like a character who, like, yeah, was never really good at, like, school smarts and book smarts, but she was still kind of like a somewhat competent person, she turned into, like, a girl who didn't fucking know the alphabet and was like, how are you even functioning on this planet? And it was supposed to be funny. I don't know. And then I grew up and I learned that that's actually a super common thing, and there's a word for it, and it's called Flanderization, and it tends to happen to most television characters that exist, whereas over time, it's really weird. It's almost like they start off as more well-rounded and well-developed characters, and they end up regressing into their most iconic character trait. Yeah, season 1 is where the Prindle is from, all right? Case in point. Listen, she was never supposed to be the smart character on the show. She was always intended to be an airhead. But she went from being a silly kind of funny little airhead to a person who you would genuinely be like, I think you need to be put into an institution. I don't think you can function. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. I need to focus on the task at hand. All right, what did I just say to these people? So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. Wow, that word really set me off on a tangent. No, it was not like that. It was only a prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was only. However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains. And what inconsistency is this, counsel? I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. You will see that there is no red ring visible around his neck. Okay, thank God, we are going with that. But that make no sense. It was me who took the collar off of the man this morning. And I saw red bruises on his neck, just like I have. Given that the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim, who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. DeRossi. Game audio is slightly desynced? Oh, that's not good. I don't know how to fix something like that. How bad is it? Am I desynced? Is all of my audio, or is it specifically my game audio? Report to me. We'll keep going. Oh, indeed. That is most peculiar. But what will I tell you, huh? Oh, we say this from the beginning. Many times. Oui. Oui, Peppino is right. The man in the photograph. He is someone different to the man that we held captive that night. Well, who could have seen this coming? Order! It would appear then that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street, posing as an incognito inspector, was not Inspector Gregson at all. Objection! If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector's identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone would have stolen such an important file from the inspector. The prosecution made that assertion itself. And we also know that the inspector had made a note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day. Oh, actually, hold up. I feel like my audio's fucked up. I feel like I can see it too. Oh, there's for sure a delay. Wait a second. Hang on, maybe I can fix this. That's not like a delay on your end. That's a delay on my end. Weird. What's happening? Okay, hang on. Hang tight, everybody. Is it a delay? It's got to be a delay with my OBS, not my Switch. Oh, yeah, it for sure is. Something's wrong with my... Okay. Okay, I'm learning. We're pivoting. There is some type of delay. All right, forgive me for this. I might disappear for a second. Hang tight. Am I back? Am I back? Can you see me? Am I back? I fixed it on my end. I appear to be much more in sync. I just had to refresh, like shut down and reopen my my OBS. It seems like a weird little technical glitch. So if it appears, well, can you guys hear my little clicks? I can hear my clicks, and I think it seems like it's better. So, okay, better. Okay, great. Let's let's get back to it. What? No, start the software. Okay. And we also know that the inspector had made a note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day. Which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely. The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Gregson whom the red-headed gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of the real inspector's identification? Does the defense have some plausible explanation, counsel? The whole entire thing defies explanation. It is for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record, Mr. Naruhodo. Because those are the facts. And the facts cannot lie. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Headed League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe. Great. More looking at the court record. I can't fucking wait. Good gracious. Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruhodo. So why don't you help us all to see whatever truth it is that you've apparently seen? Who exactly was this inspector that appeared before Mr. De Rousseau and Mr. DeRossi? Gregson himself or an imposter. I know that much. Though it seems incredible, I admit the undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who these two red-headed men took prisoner that day could not have been Inspector Gregson himself. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time. On the contrary, I haven't finished yet, Mr. Boyfriend. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park on Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that is alright. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the capo dragged him from a pillar to a post with a dog collar. Mon Dieu, Peppino, I was not so harsh as you say, oh! So who was that Afoso Inspector, eh? Who was he? Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. I do? I do. And I'm gonna share it. About the true identity of the man who these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate. Post haste. Who did the witnesses encounter in the park posing as Inspector Gregson? Well, Susato-san said my information was in the court record. Oh my god, I can't look at the court record! Shit! It's not... The court record isn't available to me. Game, how are you gonna do shit like this to me? You tell me I gotta look at the court record, and then I can't look at the court record anymore. Who did the witnesses encounter in the park posing as Inspector Gregson? Well, we can rule out Susato-san. Hairlock Sholmes was certainly there, so I guess that could work. It wouldn't have been Iris. Don't think it would have been you. I feel like we haven't seen Judge Jigoku in a long time, but both of these men do have mustaches. He did talk about a mustache that didn't match the wig. Did he not? Or was that only in the photograph? Maybe. Okay, well, let's go point by point. Probably not Gina Lestrade. Probably not Mel Strongheart. Probably not Barrack Von Zeeks. Probably not Evie Vigil. Possibly Daily Vigil, but he doesn't have a mustache. A man who's disappeared without a word to his family. He's missing. It's worth noting that he is our man who is missing, so there is that. Barry Caden, probably not. Tobias Gregson, well, we just made a whole big spiel about how it's not him, so that probably wouldn't make any sense. My boyfriend's here in court, so probably not him. Oh, son of a bitch! Well, in all fairness, how did I never notice this? Did I notice this? Did I talk about this? One of these people does have bruising around their neck. Well, I feel pretty confident in my answer now. Actually, I do have a suggestion. Goodness me, isn't that? Yeah, was that there the whole time? One of the witnesses who was in the stand at this very courtroom earlier. A nameless man, whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passers-by. Sounds like a person on Twitter.
Objection.
What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses! Is this the man or not?
What has happened to his lip?
Huh?
See, this man is not for the Red-Headed League, eh?
Yeah, he's looking for the Twisted Lip League, no. Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead. Oh, absolutely the fuck not. It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noted something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. Oh? This would be a great time for one of those unnecessary flashbacks. The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be I demand that he be brought back to the stand. Getting so flustered because I'm so hot and bothered. Order! Bailiff! Bring the aforementioned witness back to the courtroom. Immediately. What happened to post haste? Oh, well, yep, there it is. Well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed. And identical to that of the witness beside him. Now what's going on here, eh? I've always had this, me. It's a birthmark, isn't it? A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand has been explained to you. Something about an inspector again. But I'm telling you, you've got it all wrong as usual. You're denying all knowledge of it, then? Well, of course I am! Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh? Well, at least you'll have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. De Rousseau, and Mr. De Rossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you?
Do we have any choice?
We're in a bigger trouble, eh, Capo? That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony. Great, another round of testimony. Alright, yeah, tell me about it. The inspector and the identification revisited.
The man who claimed to be an inspector that day was definitely not this man.
Is right, see? You'd think we would have forget those grand lips. Look at how fucking fat and bruised they are. Yeah, looks like me after... No, wait, what? No. Bite your tongue. Ugh, God, I hate the way it throbs. I never leave Fresno Street, all right? I've no interest in any red-headed league. I'm all alone in the world, me. I've no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I get involved with something like that? Just look at me, eh? Does it look like I could really carry off a disguise with a face like this? I don't know, all you really needed was a red wig. It would certainly appear that we have the wrong man.
What have I been telling you, huh? There is no need for this pointless testimony.
Ugh. That's right! I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I have come by a police inspector's identification book, huh? Well, yes. That is hard to explain. However... A brief cross-examination, I think, counsel. Keep it very brief. Oh, isn't there anyone in this courtroom who thinks I might be onto something? I stand steadfastly at your side as always, Mr. Naruhodo. And I think Kazuma's on my side, too. I think he is. He's pretending to not be, because it's all part of the bit. Alright, I guess I have to press everything till I catch a lead. It was definitely not this man. Why are you so sure? So you say, but how could you be quite so certain?
There is no need to hurt your hands on the desk, monsieur. Surely this reason is obvious, no? Because I have never before seen his lips like this.
Well, nevertheless, there's a clear red mark around Mr. Gossip's neck. And it looks very much like that left behind on the neck of your colleague, by your prized collar.
Mon Dieu! With your words, it is like you are trying to wring my neck.
It does look very much like my neck, though, eh? No, this is a birthmark, lad. The biggest lips in London and a neck to die for. Eh? They broke the mold when they made a me.
For the first time in my life, I feel lucky to have been born with red hair.
Yeah, but you still have no soul. And I thought being Japanese made you stand out in London. So you maintain you've never seen this man before?
Oui.
Oh, fuck, I learned this word yesterday and I already forgot.
Sestsa, sastse, sestsa. Kumbaya, I swear to it by the flames of my hair.
So fierce pride has outgrown the frustration with your hair now, has it? Think we would forget these grand lips, huh? Well, yes. I don't imagine I'll forget those lips in a hurry either. That is what I am saying. For some reason, it makes me want to eat, how did Fabian call it? An eclair. Oh. You know, I've never seen the hair as black as yours before either. Likewise, I'd never seen red hair like yours until I came to Britain. See, maybe it is a national trait, huh? Maybe all the people from this man's country have a grander lips. No, lad! I was born right here in Fresno Street, and I never left. Oh, you should get out more. That is the problem, see? So you definitely didn't go to the park on Lime Street that day, did you, Mr. Gossip? Now, how many times you want me to say it, eh? Alright. Never leave Fresno Street. No interest in any red-headed league. So, you'd heard of the Red-Headed League, had you? You don't get a name like Gossip for nothing, eh? It's my business to know what's going on in town. I sold that tasty tidbit to a fair few redheads that came past me. Just between us, I even got Sandwich cough to cough up for it. Well, he does have a very red nose, if that counts. I don't know. But as you can see, my own hair's got no hint of red in it. And in any case, Fresno Street's my patch. You won't catch me sliding off to some other part of town. No, sir, not likely. Oh, excuse me? Excuse it? Mr. De Rousseau. Oui.
Can I help you?
Did Mr. Gossip's words just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps?
It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park, a small house or something.
To be the headquarters of your Red-Headed League, yes.
I visited an housing agent on Lime Street, and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent.
What? Mr. Gossip? With a housing agent?
Oui. He had some kind of a contract, and they were clearly discussing the terms.
No, you're mistaken, chum. I've never left Fresno Street, me, like I said before. You've mistaken me for someone else, someone with the same face. No, the Keppel's right, I remember it at all. He was paying the man with some banker notes. With notes? Like I said, that was not me. I was curious why this man with the dirtier clothes had so much money. So I looked at the name on the papers. And what name was written? Mr. Gossip? Nope! This man, he lies. He tells you he has no name. But in fact, his name is a Hugh Boone, huh? It's better than Mr. Gossip, I think. See? Hugh Boone! We've been looking for Hugh Boone. No! Oh, you're outed now. Now, I'm a peddler of tidbits of information, like I said, on Fresno Street, and that's that. I don't much like folk talking about my personal life. Indeed. And it is not the intention of this court to invade the privacy of witnesses. Very well, I shall respect your wishes, sir. What? No! He's a suspect!
The aforementioned name shall be redacted from all courts regarding the aforementioned name shall be redacted from all court records of this trial. Assuming no objections, I object. Thank you. I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned has very deep significance to this case. Oh, good gracious. Do you similarly object, Prosecutor Asogi? As it happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings. Huh, well, I never. In what capacity? Oh my god, this man's our judge? Jesus Christ, he can't even remember things from the trial. Somebody should put him in Congress.
Hugh Boone! The name of the leaseholder of the room!
Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. Ooh, what you gotta say about that? I suggest, sir, that you start talking.
Well, all right. I suppose that might be the case, eh?
It's fucking Fanny. So your real name is Hugh Boone.
Well, just between us, I don't like to blow me own trumpet, but there's no finer peddler of tidbits in town. So hey, I happen to be able to afford a grubby little room in a falling down backstreet townhouse.
You do?
And once every 6 months, I go and pay rent to the agent on Lime Street. I remember now. There were 2 vulgar redheads in there last time. Hey, if either of us is a vulgar, it's a not to me.
Think again, Peppino.
Why didn't you bring this up before?
It's like I told you already. I don't like talking about my personal life. I'm a tidbit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss.
You will update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation, Mr. Boone.
If I must.
So the leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for since the body was discovered has been here under our noses all along.
I rent the room where that fellow was found, it's true. For what difference it makes?
Well, what difference does it make? We must be building off of this. So you live in that room, presumably, do you?
No, I don't live there. What do you think? There's no bed, is there? Just a desk?
Then why would you want to rent it?
Well, I don't think I should have to say, really.
Huh? Then how about the notice board in there? Which was covered from top to bottom in confidential documents only the police should have access to.
Ah, well, no, that board's not mine. The inspector must have brought it along. It's only the other bits and bods that belong to me, the desk and the chair and that.
Well, people don't generally carry enormous notice boards around with them. But wait, the desk is yours? Hang on, I'm having something's occurring in my brain. I'm having an activation moment. The real question is, why was Inspector Gregson killed there in your room?
Well, obviously, I've not the faintest idea. I mean, it's causing me no end of bother, to be honest. It seems to me that Mr. Mr. Boone, would rather as little is known about his room as possible for some reason.
It does come across that way, and more importantly, knowing that the scene of the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me now. That's how I'm finally going to undo this man. I'm all alone in the world. Okay, I gotta be real careful about this. Okay, so let me explain my thoughts to you, and let me explain where I'm going with this. He points. I'm looking at everything very carefully now. In fact, let me go to my history. All right, and let me look at my highlighted texts. All right, so we talked about his room. We talked about the notice boards. He says something. The inspector brought he's denying ownership over the board. Fine. It's only the other bits and bobs that belong to me, the desk and the chair and that. So here's the thing. We have this framed photograph a photographic print of a smiling Mrs. Vigil in her younger years. It was found on a desk at the scene of the crime. So my brain, I'm thinking like, is this not Inspector Gregson's photo of Mrs. Vigil? Is this his photo of Mrs. Vigil? And why does he have a photo of Mrs. Vigil? That's weird. That's suspicious. And then it's like, well, if this is what I want to present, where do I want to present it? The previous statement is where he admits the room being his. However, Mr. Naruhodo just said, what did he just say? He literally just said, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me now that we know it's his room. And I think that's this piece of testimony, because he's saying, this is where he says, I am all alone in the world. I have nothing. And I'm thinking like, well, if you have no one or nothing, why are you keeping this photo of Mrs. Vigil on your desk? Right? I have to explain my logic to you guys very thoroughly before I throw it out at the game and the game reprimands me for it. But I have all my credibility, so let's see?
Objection.
Yeah! If you have no kinfolk, as you put it, then explain why it is that among the sparse furnishings, we found this photograph in the room. Oh! I presume, as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not?
Oh, well.
Mr. Boone, drop the pretense and tell the court exactly who you really are. Is he Mr. Vigil?
I don't know what you mean. I'm a peddler. I keep telling you so. You really don't need to bother me. Please, just leave it alone.
As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth about this man's life has no bearing on this case. Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson. How can you be so sure? Love of my life. Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features. But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean?
Yes, counsel, what do you mean?
Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boone's lip is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip in of itself is an elaborate disguise. Huh! Then hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boone?
Yeah!
Yeah, I got him shaking in his boots now.
Witness, are you still hiding the truth from this court?
If that's a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be.
Exactly. That's right, Ms. Susato-san. There's really only one person that it could be. My lord, the defense believes it can reveal Mr. Boone's true identity to the court.
No, please, no.
Very well then, counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Gossip?
I have a hypothesis. First of all, let me look at both of their pictures. They both are chwinks with the same face structure, kind of, sort of. So if you put like the fucking makeup under his eyes and you put and you take his lips away, and then like, well, the nose, is he wearing a big like button on his nose to hide his nose too? The nose structure is actually very different. Oh, that's a little bit concerning. Maybe the whole entire face is prosthetic? But Mr. Vigil has the most connection to Mrs. Vigil. There's nobody else also it could be. Quite literally. The only person, like, I've eliminated all but the impossible. So even though their nose structure doesn't match in the slightest, maybe this is like the most impressive nose prosthetic button in the world. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? First name withheld. Mr. Daily Vigil. Oh, there it is.
I don't recall that name, counsel. Who is this Mr. Vigil?
It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact. This is Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive by 2 red-headed League men. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial, because we'd been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you've not only been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry, by the way, waiting for you at the Vigil residence.
Now just hold on one moment! I don't have the faintest idea
What I'm talking about? Really? You don't have the faintest idea? It's a simple enough matter for you to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull off that disguise.
No! Please, don't!
Somebody grab his lips and rip!
Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a wash bowl at once.
Oh, we're gonna do that right here in the court, are we?
Mr. De Rousseau and Mr. De Rossi, you will restrain the witness.
Wow, court is wild.
Oi, my lord.
See, my lord! Unhand me, you filthy red-headed peasants! Gingers have no souls! Stop! Get off of me!
Ooh, okay. Let's see it. Oh, wow. Ooh, gross. Okay, wow. Oh, he's like kind of a cute little twink. Hi, Mr. Vigil.
Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume.
Oh, did he do an outfit change? Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face.
It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. This has all been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses, tell the court, have you seen this man before?
I do not believe it, no, but... See! There's another question! This is the inspector we saw in the park!
Oh, extraordinary.
On the day of the Red-Headed League enrollment, the man claiming to be Inspector Gregson who appeared before Mr. De Rousseau and Mr. De Rossi in the park was you disguised as the inspector, or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warder at Barclay Prison.
The chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why would you quite possibly have become the future governor? You could have become the future governor of the prison. I can read. What on earth have you been doing, peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street?
Well, about that, it's actually been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years? I'm really dreadfully sorry about all of this. Yes, it's true. I am Daily Vigil. And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. So where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from? Boone is the other me. It's a name that I had invented.
Well, evidently, there's a great deal under the surface here.
I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. Great, we get to listen to a straight man give us his woes. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay's chief warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. But times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you're the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings. It's why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Boone, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street.
The scene of the very crime that we're investigating.
Yes, that's right. A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler, and transformed myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room, but that explains it.
But why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place?
I have a wife, good sir, and I have 2 sons, and without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them by being a commoner, a peasant.
So instead you decided to conceal your occupation from them.
Yes. I'm glad you understand. I've made such a terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6 pence apiece, you couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison.
Yeah, that's very true. To have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment.
That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson.
What? Inspector Gregson? How? What? Huh?
It was some years after I'd invented Boone and begun my other life as a street seller. He, the inspector that is, recognized me one day.
Do you mean to say that the victim was an acquaintance of yours?
I knew him from my time working at the prison. When he saw that what I had become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he would visit me on Fresno Street with increasingly regularity. Then, one day,
Yes?
he asked me if I could carry out a secret assignment for him.
A secret? What was it?
I was to impersonate the inspector.
I'm sorry, what are we doing?
What? Impersonate him? We always met in that little room, so the inspector could brief me.
Visit Orsi's tomorrow and take a statement from the proprietress.
It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially.
A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquished his identification into your care with intent to deceive? Well, that, as I'm sure I need not point out, is a very serious criminal offense.
But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All that I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions.
Now remember, Vigil, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, right? Ever. Even if I end up a croaker.
Oh, broke that promise just now, did you?
In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second office for him.
So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really...
Yes, it was me. Acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my Boone disguise, and then went as instructed to the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. Well, shit, this just got interesting. So what was Inspector Gregson's MO? What in the world is going on here? I have so many more questions than answers. Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. Wait, what? Hang on. What am I trying... I forget what I'm trying to defend. Who's my client again? Oh, Barrack von Zeeks.
Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asogi.
My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered. At the hands of these two red-headed leagued men when they imprisoned the inspector. Oh. I see. Oh, you frumpy-ass bitch. My hands! But no, that can't be. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day, it was me. Oh gosh.
Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murder of the inspector. And merci, Monsieur de la Défense, for proving it.
Wait, what? Ah! No! My neck! My back! My puss and my crack! This can't be happening again.
Order, order! Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim. As proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense.
Of course. This always happens.
I hereby call an end to the cross-examination.
Wait, Your Honor! I object? Hold it? Thank you. Was that Kazuma? Is Kazuma... Kazuma, what game are you playing? You're throwing me under the bus, then you're saving me? Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma?
What question, counsel?
It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time. He's gonna ask about his dad. 10 years ago? Oh god. The execution of the professor. Genshin Asogi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Oh. Answer me!
One moment, counsel. Is this even related to the current case?
Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked.
Does the defense concur, counsel?
It's my boyfriend. How am I going to say no to him? But you're not acting like yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual. It's a little bit hot to see you so aggressive. Poor Kazuma-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asogi's last moments. His own father. Yeah, I know, Susato-san. I do understand that. She thinks so little of me. Prosecutor Asogi. Do you genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me. Please. Oh, well. Alright, Your Honor, throw the whole case out. My boyfriend's asking me to trust him, and listen, I'm a ride or die. I'm with him till the end. I have my full, unequivocal trust in him. Of course I do. Very well. I have no objections.
I see. In that case, you will answer the question, witness.
The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten?! Oh, he's big mad now. I'm sorry to say, but yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. That's a whole decade. For some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is very hazy. Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm sorry? Well, sure, 10 years ago is a long time, but to have forgotten the reason why you left such an important job? Yeah, you're right. That's not the kind of thing that you would just forget. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily, which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry, the human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out. We obliterate it from our memories. We seal it away. It's a trauma response, but it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface. I got it! We need to time travel. I need to bring Athena Sykes here to psychotherapize him. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't. Kazuma-sama. But if it must be crushed, then so be it. Because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out one way or another. Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth at any cost. Well, yeah, obviously. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? Yeah, sure, fuck it. When do I ever say no to this shit? I have no idea how this is going to go. But this is a court of law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of events. Alright, well, what were his versions of events? Red-Headed League, photograph of Mr. Vigil, letter of introduction, dismissal notice. This must be what we're talking about. The harsh reprimand incurred by Mr. Vigil 10 years ago that resulted in him losing his job. Relieved of his post with immediate effect for having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for Prisoners. All rights to redundancy, pay, and other financial benefits fully revoked. Aiding and abetting the escape of this prison convict. Yeah, that's pretty big. Alright, throw it at him. Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post of Chief Warder of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? No. Wait, I don't. This is a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice? And the name on the notice is yours, Mr. Vigil. What? What? It's mine? So you didn't resign from the prison service at all. For some reason, you were dismissed as Chief Warder from Barclay. No, there's been some kind of mistake. I'm sure of it. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. The dismissal notice is nonsense. Isn't it? Ooh, he's like fractured. If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been a good reason. Clearly you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal. And have you remember. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised on the 17th of June, 10 years ago, and on that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison. The 17th of June? Was that the professor's execution? Professor? As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. It does sound familiar. And yet, that execution never took place. The convict, ostensibly executed earlier that day, later re-emerged from his grave. Bro, what the fuck is going on right now? I'm on the edge of my seat, but like, for once? Do I say for once? I don't know. How good have I been in previous Ace Attorney games? I don't know, but I don't know what the big secret here is. I'm sorry, what did he just say? The convict came back to life. In the cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness.
However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convict clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments.
Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must know the truth about what really had happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on the 17th of June 10 years ago. And now it's time for you to drag them up. I'm trying. Mr. Vigil? Yes, the whole prison. It was complete chaos. The prisoner had escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane. What?
Order! Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of time have returned?
My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams.
Oh my goodness.
The papers. There were reports, articles, about a man who'd seen a ghost. Yes, Enoch Drebber.
But surely those reports were exaggerated.
There were traces at the scene.
Traces of what?
In Lowgate Cemetery, at plot number 139, blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there.
The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering.
I've reviewed the police records from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigating team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved.
Are you suggesting that a prison warder abetted the man's bid for freedom?
Yes. And I was suspected of doing it. Of using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape.
You did what?
I mean, Naruhodo, did you... Respectfully, did you read the dismissal notice? Because I read it, and yeah, it literally said on the dismissal notice that that is what he was let go for. I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me. One evening, a few days after the execution, some detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower. God, being reprimanded by him, Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, Daly, this is a serious business, but I cannot help you. As Chief Warder, you were responsible for overseeing the execution of 4, eh? Well, it seems the fellas of Scotland Yard want to have a few words with you about it. You'd better pack your things, laddie. You're to attend in person.
As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, The professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. And I let him escape. I'm finished. My life. It's over. Oh, you didn't. Oh, you did. Ah! Honey, you jumped? Oh, ooh, ooh, oh. This is why we need a professional. This is why we need Athena Sykes. It's very dangerous to therapize people in an unprofessional setting.
Order! Bailiff! Fetch a doctor at once!
Oh, Jesus fuck. What have we done?
Seems fine to me.
Court is adjourned for today with immediate effect!
Oh, it's that easy to get out of court just by fainting?
So,
Oh,
with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day.
what?
Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean.
So is this good news for my client?
Lord Van Zeeks,
Yeah.
Mr. Vigil,
Oh,
Kazuma,
my boyfriend.
and Gregson.
Dead.
All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
Well, shit, boys. Where in the world do we go from here? Where is this going? What is the truth of what happened with this prisoner? And why did it happen? What is this cover-up? Is this as exciting as the Jeffrey Epstein files? I don't know, but I'm gonna save my progress. And I'm gonna be here tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Investigation Part 2. I see Herlock Sholmes' shadow, which makes me deeply concerned that we might have to endure one of his investigation segments, but I guess we'll find out in due time. So, if you want to see if you want to see where we go next and what happens and what will become of this case, join me. Also, if you could leave a like on the stream, the engagement is super helpful. Thank you for being here for the trial. Glad we made it through it. Didn't lose any of my credibility, by the way. I'm gonna call it a night. All right, boys. Toodles!